Okay guys, we're looking at our second day of inequalities. So we talked about these yesterday. Remember, inequalities are greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So remember, we can talk about these in terms of, are they possibly equal to, greater than, or less than or equal to? Is the symbols we use are going to tell us how we show the solutions on a number line. So yesterday, all of our examples had our variables on the left side of the inequality. So it might say x is less than 4, or x is greater than or equal to -2. But today we're going to be looking at what do we do when our variable's on the right side of the inequality. How can we still evaluate our solutions and do our number lines? So when our variable is on the right side of the inequality, we just have to turn it around, really. We read this one as 4 is less than t. But we can turn this around. We can say, well, let's see, all of these values for t are greater than 4. So we could rewrite this as t is greater than 4. And now our variable is on the left, and now when we go to graph, it's set up the way that we learned it. Same thing here, we have -2.5 is greater than or equal to k. So we can rewrite this with k at the beginning. Now we know that the mouth is open to the -2.5, so we need to make sure we turn that, we switch that sign around so that the mouth is still open to the -2.5. So we notice that in the first one here, we had this symbol, and when we flipped it, the sign flipped. And same thing here. We had greater than or less than, or greater than or equal to, and then we turn that to less than or equal to. So we're still using the same way that we graph it. Remember, when we have greater than or less than, we have the open circle, because the open circle tells us the number is not equal to the circle number. And when we're looking at greater than or equal to, remember we're looking at these symbols, then we have a closed circle because it says, hey, that number, it could be equal. So if we have -3 is greater than or equal to y, we need to turn this around before we graph it. We need to get that y on the other side of the inequality. So we're going to rewrite this with y first, and then we got to flip that sign. So instead of saying greater than or equal to, we're going to turn it around so it says less than or equal to, and then the number stays the same. So when we go to graph it, now we're looking at -3. And our circle, in this case, because we have less than or equal to, this is going to be a closed circle. So we're going to close that circle, fill it in all the way, and we're going to go to the left. So just like we did yesterday, but some of these we might need to adjust so that our variable comes first in our inequality. The second one, the variable is already first, so we don't have to do any adjustments. This one's going to be h is greater than or equal to -3. So this graph's going to look very similar, except because we did not have to flip our signs around because our variable is already there in the beginning. Now we still have a closed circle, but this time we are graphing to the right. So we're going to fill that in, going to the right. So notice how the number is the same, and the sign here, it starts out the same, but because we had to flip so that our variable was first, then our sign also flipped as well. All right, you guys are working on the Graphing Inequalities Day 2 worksheet today. We're going to correct both Day 1 and Day 2 tomorrow.